Thank you, Dan. I think I would have fallen asleep if you played any longer. It was so peaceful. So our sermon this morning, I actually wrote this a little over a year ago. And it was for one of our virtual services. But I felt that it would also fit into today's theme perfectly as we prepare for communion. And I would say this is more of a sermonette than at any major length. So I was chatting with my friend who had become more like a sister to me, and she just asked me, what was this week's sermon going to be? What was your topic? And I said, that's a good question. And this was earlier in the week. I do tend to write my sermons Friday or Saturday. And then we started talking about the path that we are on. And she said, do you ever feel like you get bumped onto another path? Maybe something not too far off, but just kind of a little, what's that called in a road, a pathway, that just a little detour, that's a good word for it. So, and I said to her, I said, yeah, sure, we get that. As I was thinking about this conversation that we were having, and we know that hindsight is 20/20, this conversation we had was 2 weeks before she passed. So for me, this, looking back, was such an important conversation for her and things that she was thinking of. And then she asked me, well, what brings you back to the path you were on? She's asking all these big questions, and I'm trying to answer as best I can. And I said, it's our choice. We can choose to stay on this new detoured path. And we could go back to the other one if that's what we'd like. So we can look for the joy and the happiness in this new path. Maybe the old one had some turmoil or whatnot down the road. We don't know. I said, but it is our choice which path we want to be on. And then she said to me, we choose how to respond. I said, absolutely. How true is that? When Emily and Matthew are leaving the house now, or Emily's going back to school or something, we always, I love you, have a good time. Now I've been adding for a little bit now, the last few months, I tell them to make good choices. We've kind of already done that raising, that molding and developing. Now what? Now they're making choices like we all make choices. But what brings you back to a path you've been on? Do you want to go back? Do you ever get that little detour and then kind of figure out, I'm not so sure about this anymore. I think I'm going to go back here. Sometimes we have that little voice in our head. And our conversation continued, and we started talking about music. Music was very important to her. She was unable to physically speak anymore and had a computer that spoke for her. She could use her eyes, and the computer would talk. Music, at the same time, helped her to express herself, to relax, to get away. Get away, that's a good thing. Music is one avenue of jogging our memories, good and bad. What's your favorite song or your favorite hymn? Do you have a song that just, every time it plays, you're in a good place? I can't imagine how many you have, and yeah, there's got to be a song. You are my sunshine. Yeah. That is a wonderful song. My grandmother used to sing that to me all the time. Susan and Carrie. Susan sang it to her girls. Carrie sings it to her girls. So when I go to babysit, they want me to sing that song. Doesn't go so well. But I say, you sing it with me, and we can do this.
I came across something the other day that my grandmother had written, and one of her, it wrote down her favorite hymn was Jesus Loves Me. And I remember her singing that all the time, and to see her put it down.
She probably played it on the piano. Did you play it on the piano too?
All the time.
Yeah, my
All along.
grandma would. Yeah, yeah.
But to see it written down that she wrote it.
That is great. Good memories. Good memories. Again, songs from our childhood too. Music is a big part of our lives. For me, I know sometimes it's been a saving grace during difficult times. Music is a gift from God. There are just some things in music that you cannot explain, the feelings you get or the memories it brings back. Those are gifts. The complexities of all the chords to these big orchestral pieces, to those simple tunes that just stick with you all day long. We could go from the 1812 Overture, yes, my favorite, to, dare I say, It's a Small World. So, as we get ready to partake in the sacrament of communion, I would like you to listen to the music as you contemplate the reason that we have communion and the reason that we do this. Communion is a very personal sacrament. And your relationship with God is why we all do this. So before we begin communion, let's receive our offering for the work of our church on earth.